Yeah. Um, Thank you for inviting me. Let us start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Morning everybody. I'm so happy to be with all of you here. Yeah, let's look at the new verse. We not only new verse, but new chapter that we're starting today. It's chapter 2, which is the prayers of demigods, and this is going to be quite one of the longest chapters within the 10th canto, because the demigods do like to praise the Lord, and it's very beautiful prayers. So the ones that we're doing is 10, 2, 1, 2. Shishuka uvacha pralamba baka chanura trinavarta mahashanahi mushtikadishtad vivida putanake shidenukaihi Anyascha Sura Bhupalair Vana Baumadir Yutaha Yadunam Kadanam Chakre Bali Magdas Samshrayaha. And the translation is Shukadev Goswami said, under the protection of Magadha Raja Jarasandha, the powerful Kamsa began persecuting the kings of the Yadu dynasty. In this, he had the cooperation of demons like Pralamba, Baka, Chanura, Trinavarta, Aghasura, Mushtika, Arishta, Dvivida, Putana, Keshi, Denuka, Banasura, Narakasura, and many other demonic kings on the surface of the earth. Purport. This verse supports the following statement given by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam surajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. The Lord's purpose in maintaining this material world is to give everyone the chance to go back home, back to Godhead. But kings and political leaders unfortunately try to hinder the purpose of the Lord, and therefore the Lord appears, either personally or with his plenary portions, to set things right. It is therefore said, Garbham sancharya rohinyam devakya yogamayaya tasya kukshim gata krishno vidyo vibhuddhai shruta. Krishna appeared in the womb of Devaki after transferring Baladeva to the womb of Rohini by the power of Yogamaya. Yadubihi sa vyarudyata. The kings of the Yadu dynasty were all devotees, but there were many powerful demons, such as Shalba, who began to persecute them. At that time, Jarasandha, who was Kamsa's father-in-law, was extremely powerful, and therefore Kamsa took advantage of his protection and the help of the demons in persecuting the kings of the Yadu dynasty. The demons naturally appeared more powerful than the demigods, but ultimately, because of help received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demons were defeated and the demigods triumphant. So today, before I begin, I'd like to request the blessings of all the assembly devotees, especially the senior most devotees like Adi Prabhu here, that I may speak something which is in line with our Guru Parampara, that is beneficial for our spiritual lives and purifying to our hearts, and that our hearts themselves become fertile ground for the sublime messages to take root on. So we're beginning to hear here a little bit of the setting of the scene of what is going to happen. There are a lot of names in this verse, like Trinavarta, Baka, Pralamba, Arishta, Dvida, Putana, Banasura, Narukasura, Jarasandha, so many names. And if this is your first time hearing them, it's a lot of names that just like, I don't know, just like Bob, Michael, whatever, But if you've been, if you've read the Krishna book, or have heard some of the lectures, it's ecstatic because each and every one of them. The way that I heard it in one class, especially at that time, they were talking about the different names that are given at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. That there's just like these lists of names, and you go like, when are we going to get to the good part, right? Well, actually, this is a good part if you know it. Some kids, they like to collect baseball cards, and they have the names of all the baseball, or like in Colombia, it wasn't baseball cards because baseball wasn't so much there, and there we had this sticker book, right, with these you would buy a packet, and in these packets you would have the picture and of the different soccer players, right? And the kids, they knew like, oh yeah, I got this guy, and I got that guy, and I got this team, and and you would try to keep buying and buying it so that you could finally complete the album of all the teams with all the players and everything. And you knew every single player because of that. Well, and the kids would get like really excited about it because they knew all of the statistics, they knew all the things about the players. So when we're here, this is the original Panini here, the original collection book where we are hearing about all of these names. And if you have these knowledge of all of these things, you're just ecstatic hearing these, because the pastimes that are associated with it. You go Aristasura, oh yeah, that's the bull demon. That's when Radhakund was created, after that pastime. And you hear what is it? Banasura. You go like, oh yeah, that's when the Parijata, that's linked to the Parijata tree and all of that. So it's an amazing thing to just go through all of these names, because all the pastimes of the Lord are immediately evoked into your mind. And that is why also, Krishna has all of these beautiful names, like the killer of the of the Keshi demon, the killer of that one, because all these pastimes remind us, all these names remind us of the pastimes that the Lord has had. And I see that Andrea says that we also have the science book with pictures inside chocolate bars. Yes, we also do. It's it's really wonderful to be able to remember these pastimes of the Lord just by one word, just by one person's. And the nice thing is that if you haven't heard about it, just keep reading. We're on the canto where we're going to hear all about all of these pastimes. So that's amazing. And Prabhupada starts here the purport saying that this verse supports the following statement given by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita, and then where that says that basically when is it that he descends? When there's this balance on the world of the good versus the evil. Yes, there should be collector books like this, with Krishna Katha. Totally, so the kids would love it, I'm sure. And you're an educator, so I can totally see you, creating them. We hear that the Lord comes again and again, and here the Lord is actually showing how he comes, how he's going to protect the devotees, and it's amazing, the way that he does it. Because if you remember, the beginning of this says that the reason why the Lord descended in the first place was because he was being called by Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma called him because all the demigods, went up to Lord Brahma and said, like, this is getting out of hand. We have something very difficult in our hands here. If you remember, the setting in the first canto was that there's a universal war going on between the demigods and the demons, and the demons were very expert at this thing, because they said, okay, it seems like if we just go full on front, the demigods are going to crush us. So they decided to go to a place where nobody paid much attention to, which was Bhumandala, specific, the where we are at. This earthly planet is just like, like a little road town, that nobody really cares about. Vidayananda Maharaj says, like, yeah, imagine just like a little road town that just like has like one post office, maybe one yoga studio, just like whatever. So like a town that nobody really like pays much attention to. But the demigod, the demons decided, okay, we're going to make this our headquarters. We're going to start infiltrating here. And the idea is that if we can't get the demigods directly, by fighting them, we're going to weaken them. How? Well, they started expanding themselves and taking birth here in this realm in different ways. Like, for example, they would they would come in the form of a tiger, and then they would start eating all the Brahmins. So in that way, like there's no sin, there's nothing wrong with a tiger eating a human. So there wouldn't be any repercussions, and it's like, oh well, it's a natural thing, right? So the demigods, everything would be like off the radar. But meanwhile, they're debilitating the demigods by not allowing the Vedic processes to go on, all the Vedic yagyas with which they get this thing. So when this happens, the demigods started getting, like, after there was a lot of infiltration already, all of these kings, they were already in their place. Like they were either expansions of the demons, or they were the demons that they were being influenced by the demons. All of these kings, they had been starting to shut down all of the Vedic processes. they were against the Vedic processes. So the demigods started saying, like, we've got a situation here. We need somebody. We need help. And they went to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma said, well, for the situation is out of hand. So we have to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that's when he descended. That's when Lord Krishna, and he asked all of his all of the demigods to please expand themselves and take birth in the Yadu dynasty. So that is why the Yadu dynasty is being targeted here by by Kamsa and Jarasandha and Pralamba and Bhag and Chanura and all of these, because they know specifically that, if there is somebody that's going to try to stop us, it's going to be them. And because they have the upper hand here, Jarasandha had immense power, not only himself, but he had great strengths of army. So they started really going for the Yadu dynasty. So we'll see here how Krishna is going to help respond to that. It's interesting also that this fighting between the demigods and the demons is not only something that only the Indian diaspora, only in the Vedic books are told, but actually this is something that is recorded throughout different places on the planet, in different places. Like, for example, we hear from the Greeks, right? We hear that there is a battle between the demigods and the Titans. They call them the Titans, right? Which are like huge, powerful guys. And if you go further up north with the Vikings, right, the Norse mythology, you hear about, again, the demigods that are in Asgard, right, and the Jotun, who are there are three types. Like there's the rock giants, there's the frost giants, and then there's the fire giants. So you have all of these different again, the demigods and the demons fighting with each other. It's also interesting if you look at it, some of the things like in the Vedic, in the fifth canto, we heard about how in the center of the universe, there's Mount Meru, right in the center island, there's Mount Meru, which is a huge mountain made out of gold, and has the form of an inverted cone, and this mountain is like, basically, if we put it into miles or kilometers, it would be about 2 to 3 times the distance from the Earth to the Moon. So the distance from here to the Moon, multiply that times between 2 and 3 times, and that's how big that mountain is. It's huge, and it's right there in the center of the universe. Now, according to the Greeks, there is a mountain, Mount Olympus, and on top of it, that's where the demigods live, right? And if you hear, from the Norse mythology, they don't have a mountain, but they have a tree. They have a tree right in the middle, Yggdrasil. And this Yggdrasil is the connection between the 9 different levels of the 9 different realms of the universe. In the Vedic, we have 14 planetary systems, or 3, depending on how you are going to view it. But you have all of these different planetary systems, and the demigods are in the top, like that, and the demons are in the down there. Besides that, we hear about the in the Bhagavatam, how there are underneath Bhumandala, there are the different planetary systems underground, which are where the demons live, these underground caves. And guess what? When you hear from the Norse mythology, they say that all of these gentlemen, they actually they like living in caves. So this is not just mythology. This is not just something that somebody with a very overactive imagination started making up. Like, oh yeah, let's do the fight between the good and the bad. No, actually, all of the science fiction, all of the fantasy, and all of these things come from this. They come from this thing that actually happened, and is still happening actually. And it is interesting also because you wonder what are the different connections that things have with the Vedic paradigm. According to the Norse mythology, there's going to be a day that is Ragnarok, right? And this is the day when it's going to be the final battle, where it's going to be all out. The demigods are going to go with the demons, and they're going to fight, and everything's going to be destroyed, and even the earth. But then a new earth will come about. But you will, and this is very very similar to the Christian idea of the final day, the day of judgment, right? But Suhotra Swami was investigating into this and said, well, yes, Zeus, Indra, all of that. We begin to look into it and see that the roots, and this has been looked into by the Christian scholars. The roots of the Abrahamic religions is actually in the Zoroastrian. Part of the roots is from Zoroastrianism, and in this, there are two things that actually come from it. The idea of this final day, the day of judgment. It comes from from that, and also the idea of there being a demon that is as powerful as God. Because you go like, wait a second, like in the Vedic paradigm, we never hear about a devil, somebody that is like a strong, we hear about Maya, but Maya is actually the devotee of Krishna, right? And we hear about Kali, the personality of Kali, but he's a demigod. He's a demigod in charge of sin, but he's not nearly on the level. I mean, Maharaj Parikshit, he was going to kill him. So a human could kill him. It's not like Kali decided, like, oh, I'm going to become like so powerful, I'm going to kill you. No, like he actually begged for mercy. So it's not the same as the devil in the Christians. So where is this idea of somebody that is on the same? Well, it comes from Zoroastrianism, where it is said, yeah, that they're on the same level, but and that there's going to be a final day in which there's going to be the great battle. Now, the interesting thing is that Suhotra Swami went even further. He went even further, and he started seeing that this, Zoroastrianism, there's some Vedic roots to it. So there are stories that you can see that correspond to this thing, because Zoroaster, he is
What's that, Murli Gopal Prabhu? Are you being flooded?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was going to lose power, and now I'm not. Sorry about that. So Suhotra Swami, he started looking into this, and he started seeing that uh, there's a very interesting connection. There's a story of Varuna. You know that Varuna, he has this double in Vedic in the Vedic paradigm. He has this double role, right? Like as a demigod, he's part of the demigods, but he's also associated with the demons, that are in the depths of the ocean. So he has like this double role, and it is said that he had two sons, and one son, he was very dharmic and all that, and the other son, because of the influence of all of these demons that are generally like under the rule of Varuna, then he started, becoming demonic himself, and he was saying, yeah, like his father is all powerful and everything like that. So his brother banished him from the kingdom, and he was a Brahmin. So it is said that he went north, to the place of the Chandalas and all of these. And where is north? Well, north is Iran, and that's where Zoroastrianism happens. So it seems that he went there and he started teaching the kings there about, like all of the. He was a very powerful Brahmin, so his name was Zoroaster, and he taught that yes, there's a fight between the good side and the bad side. And if you start looking at the Parsi, at the Persian of the names of the demigods and the demons in Zoroastrianism, they are similar to the Sanskrit ones, but with changes, to some of the letters. So you really go like, wow, that's interesting. But he flipped it, saying that basically that his father, Varuna, and the demons, they were the good guys, and that Indra and all of those demigods, they were the bad guys, and that they were actually the demons, and that they were on equal levels. So that basically the devil was Indra, and God was Varuna, and that they are on equal level, and they're battling it out, and they're trying to conquer all the souls. So all of that came into Christianity and Islam and Judaism, and that's how we have here now the Day of Judgment. And if you notice, for him, it was important that the soul and the body are the same. Like you need the body, and if you notice in the Christian traditions, to be all of you, you need the body. The body is needed for this. If you that is why the body is buried. It is not burned, generally. If you look at the Christian tradition, because you need it when you reincarnate. And it is said, this is within the Christian, like if you actually look at the theology of Christianity and all of this, it is said that there's going to come the Day of Judgment, And on that day of judgment, people are going to resurrect in their same self bodies, in their self, because you need the body. The soul is not aloof from the body. In the Vedic conception, we are the soul. We are not the body. That is the very beginning. But for them, the body is important. For the demons, it's important to have the body. And then there are these questions that later Christian theologians started asking, like, well, wait a second, what if we're going to reincarnate? Are we going to be old for the rest of eternity? If I died 100 years old, am I going to be like this, old lady, old guy, just like, well, this is eternity, like that. Then, the theologians said, like, no, everybody will be 30 years old. Okay. And what about if you have like an amputated limb or something like that? All the body will be perfect. Well, and what if you were a baby like that, again, you'll be born, 30 years old. And what if your body is burned? Like it would, like you died in a fire or something like that, and well, all of the molecules will come together to make your body again. Okay. And for them, it was important also. Notice, that at the end of the day of judgment, then there's a heaven on earth. The earth becomes a heaven. We don't, in the Vedic paradigm, you understand that this world is not a place to stay. This is not a place where we want to stay. We want to go back home, back to Godhead. We want to be, going to Krishna, and it's this material world is going to continue. It's going to be continuing to give all of the conditioned souls that are going to be left, for a long time, the opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. It's not that like suddenly like everything stops and all this earth becomes a nice place to be in. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said itself that this is a place that is impermanent and it is full of misery. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. It is not a nice place to be in, but the demons want to make it a nice place to be in. So these are some of like the roots that of things that have come after Lord Jesus Christ, like made all of his exposition of the path of bhakti, that have been added onto it by scholars, and different influences from places. So it is actually very nice, that we have Srila Prabhupada giving us, this amazing philosophy, and showing us really, like what is reality, because it would be difficult to be able to perceive all of these things by ourselves. Are we going to go and try to see where is that Mount Meru or Yggdrasil or Mount Olympus, and where demigods living like that? It's very difficult. So that's why Shabda Praman is so important here. But we can study these things to get a further insight into it. Let me go a little bit now, because today is the appearance day of Sri Purushottam Das. And there isn't that much about him, but he is an ecstatic devotee. He is his name was Nagar Purushottam, and it is said that he was previously a cowherd named Daman in Vraj, and he was born in a Vaidya family as the son of Sadashiva. This is from Gaura Gadandesh Deepika. Now, Daman, the cowherd boy Daman, he was one of the 12 Gopals and a companion of Krishna in his childhood pastimes in Vraja. In the 11th chapter of the Adilila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is listed as Purushottam Das amongst the devotees of Lord Nityananda. He's said to be the 10th of the closest associates of Lord Nityananda. So he was very Lord Nityananda had like these associates that were all cowherd boys, and they were like he empowered them. Sri Purushottam Das is one of those. Now his father Sadashiva Kaviraj and his grandfather, let me see, what was his grandfather's name? Kamsari Sen, and his son Kanu Thakur. They're all great personalities. This is 4 generations. So let me see. Kamsari Sen is Ratnavali Saki. That's his grandfather. In the spiritual world, he is Ratnavali Saki. Sadashiva Kaviraj, which is Purushottam Das's father, he is Chandravali. Chandravali, if you know, is the competitor of Radharani. She's that there in the spiritual world. There's 2 groups of Sakis. There's the right wing, and then there's the left wing. And Radharani, she is the leader of the left wing. The left wing is it's not like Democrats and liberals. It's the left wing gopis are the ones that are very contrary to Krishna. They have an attitude. They're like, Krishna. You're not going to get away with this that easily. What they have. Yeah, they have a little spunk, a little thing to them. While the right-wing gopis, they're very much soft, subservient. Sassy gopis are the left wings, and the right ones, they're very accommodating, like that. So Radharani is the leader of the left-wing gopis, the sassy gopis, and Chandravali is the leader of the right-wing gopis. And Chandravali, and there's like all kinds of drama because of this thing, because Krishna, he likes drama. If you have not noticed it in your life yet, Krishna likes drama. So Chandravali, she took birth as Sadashiva Kaviraj in Lord Chaitanya's pastime, and Sadashiva Kaviraj, his son, was Purushottam Das Thakur. And it is said that Purushottam Das Thakur, his wife was named Janava Devi. It's not Lord Nityananda's wife, but it's another Janava. There can be more than one John Smith, right? So her name was Janava Devi, and she had a son named Kanu Thakur. Now, Kanu Thakur, it is said that when he was born, his mother died. As soon as at the time that he was born, his mother died, and so Lord Nityananda and Janava Devi, the Lord Nityananda's wife, they took pity on him. So they, basically adopted him like a son to them. And Nityananda Prabhu named the boy Shishu Krishna Das. Shishu means like baby, like little boy. So Shishu Krishna is like, the baby Krishna, sort of like that. And it is said that Nityananda Prabhu's wife Janava Devi adopted Kanu and took him with her to Vrindavan. when she after the whole pastime of doing the first Gaur Purnima in East Bengal with Narottam Das Thakur, she decided, oh, I really want to go to Vrindavan. So that was in Keturi that this was done. So she decided, okay, I'm going to go, and she took Kanu Thakur, the son of Purushottam Das Thakur. She took him with him there, and it is said how much mercy he received from her, and also from the Goswamis that were at that moment in Vrindavan. Let's see. Some say that one legend about Kanu Thakur holds that when in Vrindavan, while he was dancing in Kirtan, his ankle bell flew off, and he vowed that he would make his residence wherever the ankle bell was recovered. When it was found in the town of Bodhkana in the Jeshore district, he established his Shripat there. In the opinion of some, the husband of Nityananda Prabhu's daughter, Ganga Devi, so is Purushottam Das Thakur's disciple. So Lord Nityananda, he had with Vasudha 2 children. One was Ganga Devi, who was an expansion of the goddess of the Ganges, and another one was what's his name? Blanking out right now. He was Virabhadra. He was an incarnation of Kshirodakashaji Vishnu. And so it is said that Nityananda's daughter, Ganga Devi, her husband, by the way, Ganga Devi, she was an initiating spiritual master. Her husband was initiated by Purushottam Das Thakur. So again, we have names here and there, but when you start, connecting all of these things, it's ecstatic. This is the real family tree. We sometimes, like to dig into our family tree. Oh yeah, that is the son of that, and this was the third cousin of like that. This is even more ecstatic when you start learning about these things. For example, I recently learned also that Lord Nityananda, he was married to 2 ladies, to Vaishnavis. One was Janavadevi, and the other one was Vasudha, and they were both sisters. They were their father was Surya Das. Now Surya Das was the elder brother of what was his name? There are so many names that it's difficult to keep all of them. I'll tell you in a second, but he was a devotee, basically, that had these deities, these beautiful deities of Gaur Nitai that were manifested from the actual Gaur Nitai. Basically, he had invited Gaur Nitai to his home, and then when they were going to leave, he said, no, you can't leave. Hridoy Chaitanya, the spiritual master of Hridoy Chaitanya, that was it. This personality, and basically he told the Gaur Nitai, you can't leave. You have to stay. And then they said, well, and they manifested these deities. These deities are not different from us. We will be here with you in their form. He said, no, if they're not different, then let the deities go and you stay. They said, okay. So Gornitai became deities, and the deities became, alive, and they started walking out. He said, no, you stay. So he said, okay. So the deities stayed and, became deities again. And the deities, went back and they started walking away. He said, no, you stay. And this went on like a couple of times until he finally understood, okay, so they're not different. So they finally went. Gauri Das Pandit, that's his name. Gauri Das Pandit. And he was the spiritual master of Hriday Chaitanya. And Hriday Chaitanya, there's a whole pastime of Hriday Chaitanya. Actually, why he got that name, because Gauri Das Pandit, the one who was asking, please stay, like that, and he is the younger brother of Surya Das, who is the father of Janava and Vasudha. So he got upset with Hriday Chaitanya because Hriday Chaitanya was like they were going to do this festival, and the spiritual master he was not available. And he said, like, we have to send out invitations, and I haven't gotten the okay from him, but it's going to be too late. And so he just sent out the invitations. And so when the spiritual master heard about that, he got very upset, like, why are you doing this without without my consent? Who told you to do this, like that? But he said, okay, you want to have your festival, go and do it yourself. So he was kind of, like bummed about it, because I don't want to displease my spiritual master. But, all these people he had already invited, they were already going to come. So he had his, his festival somewhere like that. And it is said that the kirtan was so amazing that the deities, Gornitai, that or Gauridas Pandit had there, they just said, like, that's so great. And they started running to go to that festival. And Hriday Chaitanya, Gauridas Pandit said, like, hey, where are you going? He picked up a stick and started running after them. He said, come back here. And these deities, they ran, and when they got to the festival, they hid in the heart of Hriday Chaitanya. That's why he's called Hriday Chaitanya, because Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda took shelter in his heart. And he is the spiritual master of Dukhi Krishna. And Dukhi Krishna is he is best friends with Narottam Das Thakur. And there's a whole thing where his name was turned into Shamananda Pandit. And Hriday Chaitanya got like super upset. And there was like this whole tension between the devotees from Braj and the devotees from Vrindavan. I'm not going to go into it because it's a long story, and I'm already like, running out of time here. But if you ask me, maybe I'll tell it. And so he is the spiritual master of this devotee. So it's incredible, like all of the stories, all of the amazing pastimes that are going on, and how they're intertwined. The Bhagavatam is the same thing. If you see like all the connections and everything, that is life. Krishna, he's making like incredible connections. And if you look at devotees, even today, nowadays, like you look at, oh, this devotee is so and so, and he was best friends in the ashram with this other devotee, and you hear about this other. So it's like mind blowing. Like, who are these personalities? And so, Prabhupada once said that, if you knew who, your God brothers and God sisters are, you would faint. So, yeah, we should always,
I suspected that about Yamuna Jaya.
Totally. It's
no.
who are these devotees that we're with? Like sometimes we pass them as like, oh yeah, Bhakta so and so, or yeah, and then years later you see that they become sannyasis, with huge gatherings. They've helped open up so many temples, or they've distributed tons of prasadam, or to hundreds and thousands of people. It's just like, who are these people? Who are these devotees? And it's mind blowing. And the way that Krishna is working in their lives is like wow. Who needs a soap opera? we have the best movies, soap operas here, right here in amongst the devotees and in our scriptures. So there's 7 minutes left. I'm gonna open this for any comments, questions, or really good jokes.
Adi Purusha Prabhu, are you done massaging Arjuna Prabhu?
Doing that to keep us awake. Two of us are struggling here. We covered a lot of ground here. The first part, the verse is about the demons under Kamsa's direction were persecuting the devotees, systematically harassing them. And that word persecution is kind of interesting. In the Bible, Jesus says something about how if you follow me, you will be persecuted. And I always think about that. If I keep too low a profile, if there's nobody criticizing me, if there's no adversity, if there's no persecution going on, I'm wondering if I'm actually following Prabhupada. Prabhupada spoke, and my goodness, it was like one name for Krishna is Jalakalahali. You know what that means in Murli Gopal? Jalakalahali?
Jalakalahali, no, please tell us.
When Krishna jumped into the lake to get Kali, to fight with the Kaliya serpent, he made a big splash. So Jalakalahali is the name for Krishna. That means he makes a big splash, right? When he jumps in. So Prabhupada jumped in here, Western civilization, and if you go in Harinam, you'll see some people, even the Christians are criticizing, and the demons are criticizing, and people are actually. Harinam is very powerful because it polarizes people. Some people find it attractive, and some people find it completely radical and unacceptable. So that word persecuted strikes me that if we're bold, if we repeat Prabhupada, if we don't water it down, if we actually make a big splash, then we'll receive some resistance. And we're meant to be able to be ready to respond like that by maintaining a determined effort. And if we don't make a big splash, I mean, we're not trying to cause trouble, or, we're not masochists, but still, there's a tendency to be so careful in our preaching not to disturb anyone that we might actually drift a little bit to be influenced by the people that might be not ready to hear. When everybody's in darkness, if somebody turns on a light, people, what is that light stuff, right? So if we just keep a too low profile, I always think there's a slight danger there. Myself, I mean, maybe not everybody's like that. The Goswamis were beloved by the gentlefolk and by the ruffians. Look like Dr. Schick has his hand up.
Hare Krishna, Adi. And thank you for that class. I was just thinking of what you were saying, Adi, about, you're going to get blowback from the general population because if you're preaching, then that's going against the grain. So I think I heard somewhere, maybe you can verify this because you're a Prabhupada disciple. I think Prabhupada had a special deal with Krishna that he wouldn't personally get persecuted. But I think his disciples didn't have that same deal, Prabhupada said if they knew what I was saying, they would kill me. So my cat is bothering me again. See, this is my Bhagavatam buddy. He wants his attention.
He wants to ask a question.
Yeah, he wants to ask a question. He has his paw up. Anyway, yeah, I just remember my spiritual master personally, Devamrita Swami was going across Eastern Europe in a car, and he was listening to some audio tapes, and he said, "Oh my God, this is powerful." I think it was the Eternal Love tape series. And he said, "Oh, the person that is saying this is going to get a big reaction." And he was so inspired that he came to America, and immediately he was elected president of New Vrindavan and the Sankirtan leader, et cetera, et cetera. And now he's a big guru in Australia. But anyway, it is a test of one's, potency. If you're not getting any blowback, probably, unless you have a special deal, you're probably ineffectual. So, that's why Jesus said that, I believe. So that's just my, I think Prabhupada said that. Am I right? Have you heard that Prabhupada said he had a special deal with Krishna that he wouldn't personally suffer?
My perception is that there was a lot of people, the deprogrammers, the Christians, the communists. I was just watching one video of Prabhupada speaking in, maybe it was Australia, and the people in the audience were ferociously critical to the point where they had to just Prabhupada said, "Let's just have kirtan." So I never heard that Prabhupada never had any resistance or any people. The idea that people would commit themselves to move into a temple, to engage in full-time devotional service was so radical in a Judeo-Christian culture where people would just go to church on Sunday and the rest of the time all they did was karmic work. Bhima has something to say here.
Howdy. Wonderful class. Just a history book. Unbelievable. I can't wait to have in my next life a brain that can hold on to the past times of not only Krishna, but all the devotees in the story in the Bhagavatam. That's just a wonderful class. I was mesmerized. I'm actually going to listen to it again because it kept cutting in and out. But anyways, we should not think that Prabhupada didn't suffer. Prabhupada cried when he lost Hayagriva and Hayagriva went away. Prabhupada cried every time, or was in pain, as was Bhakti Siddhanta, in pain when they lost devotees to Maya that fell off the boat into the ocean again. It causes pain to the spiritual master. It's a direct eternal connection there. He's your father and you're his son or his daughter, and then you go away, you become prodigal. But when you return, it's like in the Bible, the prodigal son, the father comes to you more dearly because he misses you so. So I just wanted to say that Prabhupada had he also had 3 heart attacks. So suffering isn't just other people, it's Adidaivik and Adibodic. It's ourself. He had 3 heart attacks. Krishna brought it to him. Each one of those heart attacks was Krishna. And that was his test. He crossed like the river Styx, like he went from India to America and he crossed over into another life. And he started here and he made a big splash, as Adi was saying. It's unbelievable. Anyways, I'm rambling. Hare Krishna.
Bhima Haribol. Shik.
Haribol, brother.
Hare Krishna. But I agree with you totally. Prabhupada went through so much suffering. But what I understand that to mean is that, even though he was suffering, it was a labor of love for his devotees. He felt so much pain when he left when devotees were gone. And he suffered when he went across the United States. He did that voluntarily, went so much austerity and to come to America and in America. But he wasn't crucified like Jesus Christ. I mean,
well, these days they crucify you in the newspapers. Just thinking Mother Sukada's class the other day, she was arrested so many times. Nanda Bihari said, "Oh yeah, we went here, we distributed books, bam, there you are in jail." We've also had that experience of being arrested
The Russian devotees, that tried to spread Krishna consciousness, they were killed. But Prabhupada, I don't know. Maybe somebody else, some other Prabhupada disciple. I heard that there was some kind of special deal that he wouldn't be like meat ground up in the meat grinder and made a martyr or something like that. I don't know. That's just what I heard. I may be wrong.
We should go back, ask the historian. Really good, Gopal.
Yeah. Well, actually, some of the early New Davanists, Prabhupada disciples might know that, but I heard it somewhere. I don't know where.
Hare Krishna.
I am seeing also here a text from Angelica saying that, what is it? She wants to go and start reading more about these personalities and pastimes. It's a well-engaged side of FOMO. Totally, we should have this fear of missing out of, like, oh my God, like there's so much I don't know. I want to know more about, all of these. There's so much information about these personalities. There's the Gauda Deshdipika, where it talks about the different devotees to the Lord. I'm looking here, one of the books, Lord Chaitanya and his associates, that also talks about them. There's the Bhakti Ratnakar, which talks about all of the pastimes of the next generation devotees, like Narottam Das Thakur and all of the devotees that came after Lord Chaitanya. There's the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and then there's the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so many things. Just like wow. And there's all of Prabhupada's books, which he went through. So one lifetime is not enough, but who cares? Let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's learn about this. And when we talk with devotees, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk like, oh, so how's that Yankees game? Or did you see the last season of, I don't know what Netflix drama is happening right now, but it's like, no, but did you know about like this interesting connection that I found between Krishna and and his queens and all of that. So it's like that's the best. If you wanna gossip, there's tons of gossip to talk about about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and Krishna. Like there's so much, and about the devotees right now that are around us. Like amazing devotees that are doing like incredible things. Like, oh, I want to know about that devotee. That's the first thing that I want to hear when there's when somebody introduces me, like, oh, there's a great personality that is going to have a class. I go like, can you tell me more about that devotee? So I think that we're getting ready to greet the deities.
Thank you, Murli Gopal Prabhu. Beautiful class. Everybody appreciates your historical background information. Thank you very much.
It's just me being nosy.
It's so interconnected.
Yeah, thank you all for giving me the chance to talk about these pastimes, of remembering them and feeling more enlivened as when you speak about them.
Yeah, the war is going on. The war is going on.
Yeah,
we woke up to war, like Angelica said the other day. It really stuck with me. We woke up to war between the good and the evil.
Yeah, Bhaktisiddhanta said, that's going to happen, and we can't wait, like Lord Chaitanya's movement can't wait until the world is better again to be able to do it. You see the Ukrainian devotees, how they're, using the situation to like spread Krishna consciousness. It's like under any circumstance, like these devotees, will serve Krishna. That's inspiring. That's amazing. You're like, wow. In times of war, okay, let's open up, this place and let's start, feeding all the people and bringing them into Krishna consciousness. That is amazing.
Yeah, there are devotees there that I've been in touch with, and they go really deep with this. They really taken advantage of this war situation for their spiritual life. And the prayer that Adi, there's one line that Adi Prabhu always says. He says, okay, Krishna, how can I serve you under these circumstances? Okay, Shikshashtakam Prabhu.
There's no atheists in the foxholes.
Right.
So, it's like one devotee from Slavia. I guess that's the former Yugoslavia, correct? You would know that, Ananda Bihari.
Slavia. There's all these countries are Slav.
Slovenia.
Slovenia. Yeah, that's the former Yugoslavia.
That's a democracy, right? And he gave me a joke. We've been communicating because I was just wondering what was going on over in Eastern Europe, and he said that this is funny. He said he had a meme of Putin and Biden, and it said, "You better watch out, otherwise Columbus will go find America again. Try to go find America again." And do you get that, Prabhu? Because I didn't get it at first. He had to explain it to me.
No, you have to explain.
The joke is that Putin is going to nuke America. It'll be like a black hole. And then, Columbus will have to try to find it again. And I think that, I told him that's a pretty sick joke, but he was complaining that America's always trying to, expand democracy and everything and, force it down all their countries' throats. That was his complaint. So he believes that. And that's a little gullible, I told him, because the Iraq war wasn't about expanding democracy, although that was the propaganda. That war was about oil, exploiting the resources of nature, And so, and he said, of course, nobody wants war, but, I just, there will always be war. Prabhupada said this. I just want to read this little excerpt from a conversation here. Dr. Patel in Bombay said, "This war, the last second war, was so horrible. The third will perhaps be finishing the whole cosmos." And Prabhupada said, that war is always there, but they still remain two-legged animals. It requires education. And Dr. Patel said, "But sir, I still feel wonder that Jesus Christ is so wonderful. I mean, brotherhood and all these things. And these people are following his creed are warring like this." And Prabhupada said, "No, who is following our Gita?" And so Dr. Patel laughs and he says, "I mean, practically why?" And Prabhupada says, "Why do you blame them? We are also blamed. Nobody's following. That is animalism. We've got direction, but they won't follow." Hare Krishna, Jai. So war will always be there in the material world. That's just the nature of this place. Unless people start actually, 1.1% of the population, maybe there'll be peace. Maybe a small fraction of the population will become Krishna conscious, but that's up to us. Prabhupada left that up to us to make that happen.
Yeah, we should go on with our service and see how we can contribute to the society, our capacity. And
we have to get these
are the
Bhima Prabhu.
I was just going to say, in a nutshell, these are the best of times. These are the worst of times. Materially speaking, if you're going to look at it with consciousness of a materialist, it's the worst of times. It's only going to get worse. It's Kali Yuga. It's dialing down. We're winding up faster than we think. And it's the best of times. These devotees are going from day to day in Ukraine, from Bhagavatam class to Bhagavatam class. That's all they know, especially the ones hunkered down in the temples, in Kiev and etc. Day to day, they wake up and they distribute the prasad, or they hunker down in the temple because bombs are falling. And every Bhagavatam class, every time they chant, it's as if, it's time. And that's the best best of times, because Krishna consciousness digs in real deep, and everything's accelerated, and you get right next to Krishna's feet, and you just hold on tight. And when do we do that over here when we're living so easy? So that's all I wanted to say. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Would anyone else like to share anything? Okay, thank you, Murli, Gopal Prabhu. Thanks everyone for contributing to this class. Yeah, the war is going. Let's keep our services going. Let's keep Srimad Bhagavatam going every day. So see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Right. Hare Hare.